Today's ETF day for XRP. We're also going to talk about some big Solana news. Are we playing the pumps and dumps? Crypto firms are putting pressure on the president because they want regs now. Yeah, we're operating without a clear set of instructions. We'll talk price action.
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
And later today, I'm going to have big news for hbar fans, so make sure you hit the subscribe button notification bell so you don't miss out. Now, we're pulling back from the highs that we were touching yesterday, but some of the market is still in the green. We're going to do your comments first, and we're going to get into that hot news. Jeremy Touche, what's up, Jeremy? Says, made a boatload on Sol a couple years ago around Christmas. I also think Chainlink is going to explode as well. Dude, if Sol goes under 100, I am a freaking player, man. For real. I will gobble up a bunch of that. But we're seeing the market is being all about what, everyone? Pumps and dumps. hbar had a solid move, and now it's pulling on back. Maximus Decimus says, morning, Klaus and company. Leaf burning yesterday was a cleansing of bad juju. Thanks, Klaus. Dude, I burnt tons of leaves yesterday, tons of trees yesterday. I've got even more to do today. I need to burn off more of that bad juju. Anyone else having problems keeping up with the leaves this year? JH1955 says, hey, Klaus, do you have an X account? Please answer. I do. It's linked in the description below. No, I'm not going to message you and ask you what your favorite trades are or any crap like that. I talk on X just like I do here. Naughty. Very, very naughty. Bitcoin, 86,371. ETH is 28.15. Our BNB's at 841. Sol at 130. While ADA's at 41 cents. Dude, ADA discount at 41 cents, or is it just a cheap piece of crap? XLM right at 25 cents at 24.87. Altcoin season index? No, it's BTC dominance for 23 out of 100. Volume up 30% to $135 billion. What do you notice? Yeah, a consistent decline in market cap over the last 30 days. Zoom out to the 1 year and you're like, oh shit, this is where we were market cap wise all the way back in May. We going back in time, ladies. Traders are bracing for Federal Reserve impact amid U.S. data wave. All right, we're going to start getting some data now that the government is opened back up. What reports are we going to get? A cluster of major U.S. inflation and jobs reports are due this week, which could spike volatility in stocks and crypto. U.S. Price Producer Index, jobless claims, and PCE inflation data. Oh, by the way, I've got the dates for you, too. It's all linked in the description down below. The PPI data, scheduled release for Thursday, November 25th, measures wholesale inflation. Initial job claim data will be released on Wednesday, the 26th. So you got the 25th, 26th. And then PCE, personal consumption expenditures, will also be released on the 26th. Why is that important? Because the traditional markets are closed on the 27th, and we know that Friday through the weekend is going to be low volume day. So we're going to see some extreme volatility if these reports suck. Now, if these reports are within line, I think we'll be good to go, and this weekend will be a boring nothing burger. Now, CPI data is going to be happening on the 18th, a week after they have the rate cut. Well, hopefully they cut rate, FOMC meeting. So we got a bunch of data coming up, and we know how the market is. The market likes data. As long as all the stuff is within expectations, we will be good to go. If some things are bad, well, you know what's going to happen. We're going to be going deeper into the red. Now, I've got Sol's chart up on the screen right now because Jeremy's making me wonder if I'm missing out on some of these Sol pumperonis and dumperonis, because check it out. You've been able to get Sol at some cheap prices, right around $100, and Sol has gone well over 200 several times. But every time it does it, it pulls back. So maybe Jeremy's right with the little pump and dump action. Crypto firms are calling for immediate regulatory clarity in a letter to Trump. That's right. They're saying, yo, we got to get shit done. A coalition of 65 firms led by the Solana Policy Institute has addressed a letter to President Trump calling for immediate executive action to clarify digital assets. The problem with executive orders is, guess what? The next president can come in and undo them. And the courts can be like, oh, this is out of your reach here. Yeah, we've seen the courts do that with the tariffs. We've seen the courts do that with several things. Over 65 firms have urged Trump to direct federal agencies to clarify crypto regs. In the November 20th letter, the coalition urged the administration to act swiftly on a series of targeted measures designed to ensure that the United States will remain the best place in the world to build, invest, and innovate. Well, then give us best prices, and then also give us what? Strategic reserve assets. You teased it, you never gave it to us. According to them, federal agencies like the Treasury Department, the Internal Revenue Service, and the SEC and the Justice Department can take immediate steps without waiting for legislation from Congress. That is true, but again, those steps would be temporary. Remember, Gary Gensler did whatever the hell he wanted. Why? Because there were no clear outlined regs. He was interpreting the regs. First, the group asked Trump to clarify how staking and mining rewards are taxed directly by the Treasury to treat them as self-created property. Yeah, and we want to make sure that we get staking and yield here in the United States. That'd be good. Among other asks, they also called for implementing a de minimis tax rule, such as a $600 exemption for small crypto transactions. I really like that. Why? Because that would bring more people into crypto. Saying, hey, anything under 600 don't have to report to the Fed. I like that at all. Next on the list is a call for greater protection of devs, especially if concerns have mounted about recent verdicts involving creators of Samurai Wallet who were sentenced to prison for building privacy-focused stuff. So again, if the rules aren't going to be clear, you're going to stifle innovation, you're going to stifle investment, and you're going to stifle growth. Beyond the aforementioned priorities, the coalition has also called for stronger interagency coordination to streamline how crypto is regulated. They want the SEC and the CFTC to publicly affirm support for self-custody. Awesome, but again, that is only executive order. What we need are the regs. Now, by the way, I have this letter right here. Check it out. A pretty interesting letter, right? It's about 10 minutes worth of reading, and it shows all the companies here that have gotten in on this. There's your Solana Labs, Solana Foundation, Wintermute is on there, Zcash, there's a whole bunch of them. Check it out. It's in the description below. XRP playing a little pump and dump. The dump happened on November 21st where we got some cheap $1.83 XRP and we started moving our way back on up. Volume up 21% to $4.3 billion, but the reality is what? We are way, way far away from where we need to be. We are in the friend zone right now. At $2.08, XRP is way too expensive to buy. We know we can get cheaper deals than that. And at $2.08, there's not a lot of room for what? Making money, making the profits. That's why we're back in the friend zone. Now, these reports that I listed earlier, right? The Federal Reserve impact reports, like I said, it's all about expectations for reality. If the expectations are they're going to suck and they suck, we're good. But if the expectations are they're supposed to be good and they suck, well, we're screwed. These reports, though, are minimal impact reports, except for the fact that we haven't had any reports lately, so this is going to be the first time that the speedometer is actually working. And like I said, I've got big news for HBAR fans. Make sure you hit that notification bell because that report's coming out later today. But right now, Jeremy's got me wondering about Solana, a little bit of pump and dump action play. Crypto firms want regs. XRP ETF launch day is today. Yeah, Grayscale. Is that going to bring any action in the market? Zooming close in, what do we see? Nothing really yet today to give us any excitement. ETFs and nothing burger? Possible. Maybe it's like that ISO nothing burger. Yeah, that was supposed to pump everything up on the 22nd. What happened to that? Nothing. There have been so many nothing burgers with crypto, it makes me wonder if the ETF thing is going to be another one as well, or if it just needs more time and it was just bad timing for all these ETFs to launch. Everyone was touting ISO, XRP, XLM, hbar, ETF assets, blah, blah. Nothing burger. ISO is a messaging standard. There's no juice that happened with this. The big juice comes from regs and macros. Yes, we have had other bull runs in the past without regs, but this run here, when we pumped in November, based on an optimistic, right, outlook from the president and the Senate and the House. Oh, we're going to get regs. Then you had Crypto Week, the second biggest pump in this run right here, which was what? All about regs. So yes, the market can pump without regs, but this current cycle is based on the optimism or pessimism on regs, depending on what you're looking at. Now, Jeremy's got a good idea with that SOL action here, but it's a little too high for me. I might have to buy a little bit cheaper to see what I can make out of it. A bunch of things are still on sale because they haven't rebounded strongly enough yet. I am looking at HBAR. If it gets below my point again, I'm going to buy even more. ETH to me looks juicy. What looks juicy for you? And how do you feel about those 65 crypto companies urging the president to do some executive orders? Yes, executive orders are good. It would give us some temporary protection, but we need permanent. We've been in crypto for how many years now, and we still don't have permanent regs? That is a sign that the politicians are trying to keep us out of something that can make us money. Because any time we're looking at something where we could gain control, the government's like, nope, we're gonna yoink that away from you. Sorry, I had to clean the glasses a little smudged. I was playing with the dogs. So, what do we do from here? We pay attention in the reports. We get ready for potential low volume action over this Thanksgiving weekend. That's a big one. Super low volume is expected. Maybe some volatility thrown in there, or are these players just going to take a nap? We're also going to be looking heavily in December because hopefully we get a rate cut. We start getting our CPI data and stuff reports back on the regular. We're going to have more ETFs around then. And maybe we actually get those subcommittee votes on regs, because that is what we really freaking need to move, is some regs. Choo-choo what? Well, you know how every video ends. It's choo-choo bitches.